Good morning. Well, good afternoon or good evening, whenever you're watching this. My name is Stephanie Jones, and I actually do quite a few things here at Manville High School. I teach microbiology. I am a clinical rotations teacher. So if you see some kids in scrubs, some of those are mine, not all of them. And I'm also one of the cheer coaches here at Manville High School. But we didn't come here to talk about any of those things. We came here to talk small group instruction. So if you will, come along a journey with me. I would love to share some of the small group instruction that I use here in my classroom. It does help for an overall just kind of really cool environment in the class. It gets the kids talking. It gets kids talking to me. I get to talk to them, and it just is an overall really good experience for everyone involved. So, if you will, come along with me. Let's talk about some of those instructional practices I use here in the class. Yeah. Oh, what? Let's go this way. Just kidding. We're going to come back here. Okay, so let's talk the first video you're going to see. Okay, so if we're talking small group instruction, first thing you're going to see is the kids are being assessed on a skill or an assignment or an activity. Again, this is where you can use it in the gym or in the classroom so they can perform a skill, a drill, or you can have them take a formative or summative assessment. Okay, from there, I like to divide my groups into three sections based on high scores, low scores, and mid scores. From that small group instruction, dividing them into those three sections, each one of those groups will have an activity to do. So usually my higher scoring students will do some type of advanced activity or they will move on to the next topic in class. Okay, the middle assignment will get some extra activities to kind of make sure to reinforce that information. And then the lower set of students will either retest or I'll work with them personally to make sure that they understand the information so that they can move maybe to that mid or high level range, kind of work one on one with them, answer some questions if they have them. And then we bring the group back together and move on to that next topic, making sure everybody's on the same page. Okay, so that first one is dividing my groups into three sections. So if you'll tune into that video, I'll be right back. All right, for this scenario, the girls are being assessed on spirit. Again, anything you want to assess your group on will work fantastic. From there, just a small explanation of what's about to happen as far as dividing your class into their three groups. The group on the right was the higher grade as far as the assessment. The group being formed in the middle was your mid, and then the group on the left is your lower assessment. You'll see here I'm spending a little time with that group on the left to give them a little more tutoring on what they need. And we are back. Hopefully that video was something good for you. Hopefully there was something in there that you kind of can use for your classes. The second video that you're going to watch, you're going to see, again, the cheerleaders are being assessed on a skill, and then they will actually be divided into two groups. So you'll have your high scoring student and your low scoring student. Again, this is something you can use in the classroom, give some type of formative or summative assessment, and then based on the scores, you're going to divide them into two groups. Okay, from there, you'll match one of your high scoring students with your low scoring students, and they together will kind of reinforce each other. So your high scoring students, again, is going to reinforce the information by helping to tutor your lower scoring student. And usually during these meetings, your lower scoring student, they ask more questions, they're a little more confident, they feel a little more comfortable opening up about issues they may have had about the topic. And again, this also allows you to float around the room and answer any questions that anybody may have on the topic. Tune into the video. We'll see you shortly. Here we go. The girls have already been assessed and put into their high and low scoring groups. That higher scoring group is on the right, and you'll see here they're being matched with a lower scoring student in the classroom. From there, you'll notice that the higher scoring student is in front. They're either showing off good motions and skills, and they're able to help tutor that lower scoring student. And again, this also gives me the opportunity to walk around and answer any questions that either of the girls may have on this activity. Woo. All right, time to have a seat on this one. Okay, so hopefully you got something from that last video. This next video, same scenario. Kids are being assessed on an activity or a skill or an assignment. And then from there, instead of scoring them in 3 sections like in the first video, or instead of scoring them in a high and low and then matching them based on score, your students are going to have a designated buddy. So in cheer, we have big and little sisters. I know in some other groups you have your upperclassmen and your lowerclassmen. Maybe they're matched together just to start the bond with your organizations. So that might be something you have. In my classroom, we have table mates. So talk to your table mate, have a conversation with your table mate, work with your table mate, however you want to put it. And again, this gives you the opportunity to float around the room. You can answer any questions during that time. But it allows you to float around the room. You can throw in some of your 7 steps here. Totally up to you at this point. But again, the designated partner is always a good way to go, just because that person already knows who they're going to. That's less of a setup for you. And again, they may be a little bit more comfortable with that person as the year goes on. That's something I usually see with my students as well. They get really comfortable with each other. So it's easy going to talk to your table mate because, again, you've built that bond with them. So check out this video and how you can set that up, and we'll be back. Here we go. Once again, using that same skill from the first video. And after a short explanation of the activity, these girls were ready to go to their designated partner and were easily able to jump into the task that was given. All right. Hopefully that was good for you as well. Lots of good small group instruction. And again, I love using all these, but I still have a few more that I'd like to share with you. Okay, so the next one, I call it a soul train line just because it looks like a soul train line. And depending on the day, I do let the kids dance down the center to mix up the line. So the purpose of this activity is to give lots of information at the same time. I like to kind of drill the kids on this information, kind of a pass fail. It kind of gives me an idea of what the environment of is in the class, what topics or what terms the kids do know and do not know, and then I can move forward from there. But again, you'll see that there are 2 lines. Each student will have a term or an explanation that they're going to share with the person across from them. And the goal is either to just have a conversation, answer the question, or just take an assessment based on the student that's across from you. It doesn't have to take very long. Usually you can give them about 10 or 15 seconds to answer the question. And from there, you'll get all the data you need to either move forward with the information or go back and reteach, or just, just to see what the kids know in the first place. So tune into this video, one of my favorites, and we'll see you back here after that one. Again, one of my favorite activities to do in class. Once you get the directions to the kids and after a few tries of doing it, they'll easily be able to jump into this activity. So I always recommend designating one side to start as far as showing off their information. And then you'll notice the other side, they either happily know the information or they don't. Okay, once that other side has been able to identify or not identify the information on the card, give some type of signal. I just have the kids put their hands behind their back. That lets you know that you can go ahead and rotate around and start the activity over again. How are we doing so far? Give me a fist of 5. Fist. You don't like any of these at all? Give me a 5. These are totally fantastic. You're going to use all of them. Okay, 4. You're going to use most of them. 3. You're only going to use a few of them. 2. You might use 2 of them. 1. You wrote some down. And 0. You don't even know what day it is. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But hopefully these are kind of piquing your interest as far as something you want to use in your classrooms. I do only have 2 more that I'll share with you. One of my favorites that I use in my class a lot is called master groups. So the goal of master groups is, just like the term says, you want this set of students to master the information that you're giving them, and then they will share it or teach it to their home groups or their original groups. Okay, so you'll notice that each group has a separate set of index cards, which will indicate the master group that they're going to. Okay, within that master group, you will give that group a certain amount of information that they need to know. You can give them a set of questions to research, a table to draw, a picture to fill in, whatever works for your classroom. Okay, if it's athletics, you can have them learn a certain skill, whether it's cheering, how to dribble between the legs, okay, how to run a certain route. And then the other group will also have an activity that will be similar to the topic that's being taught across the room. Once your time is up, those groups will go back to your original groups or your original teams. Again, in the video, you'll see that they'll talk with their master groups. And then after a few minutes, they'll go back to their home teams, and then they will share that information out to their home teams and then receive the information from their partners or peers. So hopefully that works for you. Let me know what you think about this one. All right, here we go with master groups. Always want to make sure you designate who is going to what master group and what that information will look like. Okay, from there, let them go ahead and rotate to that master group. Again, that gives you time to scroll around and have any conversations and answer any questions. After that, they will go back to their original groups, their original teams, and explain the information that they've mastered. One more time. Sorry, that was a cheer thing. We ask one of your cheerleaders if you see them. We definitely use that one a lot. So I have one more activity to share with you. Okay, I call this one a think, pair, share. Okay, so in my previous one of my previous videos, we talked about having that designated partner that you're working with. Again, in my room, we have table mates. They're designated. You already know who that person is. Okay, so when we do a think, pair, share, just like the activity goes, you're going to think about it, have that kid think about it. They're going to share out to that table mate. And then depending on how your room is set up, mine, the tables right next to them, I call them mirror tables. So I have them go over and share, which is that second share. They will get up and share with their mirror tables or the reflective tables in the room. And again, it builds that small group. The tables already know who they're going to. It helps to build a relationship, and it allows me to kind of go around the room and see how each of these groups are doing in a bigger setting instead of going to each individual table or each individual partnership. So, last one I have for you guys. I really hope you enjoy it. Please let me know if any of these worked for you or if you have any questions on how I implemented it in my class. Okay, enjoy the video and hoka hey. Here we go. Think, pair, share. Again, it's a tried and true activity. I just like to add that extra share at the end. So start them off with thinking about the topic or thinking about the question that's been given. Let them formulate their own response. From there, they will pair with either a designated partner or however you want them to pair up. Again, have that conversation about the topic. From there, they will share with either a reflective table or another group in the classroom. After that, you can have them either share with you in these partnerships or they can share with the class in general.